I DM'd almost 7,000 artists in a year, and I learned some extremely valuable lessons that can give you clarity in your DM approach so you stop overthinking sending messages and ultimately getting work. Just so you know, it's not complete like garbage that I've just come up with some random number. On this platform that I've been using, as you can see the number here, it's almost 3,500, and then I used a different platform that is no longer offered anymore, which is where I messaged the majority of people as well. And in this video, I'll show you that your gut feeling about messaging an artist is usually wrong. And I've got some actual scientific evidence to support this. The second one is you're overthinking what your compliment should be, and just simply sending more DMs is actually going to set you up for success rather than trying to curate the perfect message each time. The third thing I'll walk you through is why spending too long in the DMs is actually hurting your success. And the final thing I want to show you is the system that I've developed to find artists to message with while exerting the least effort and time possible, as well as what it's done for some of the producers who are using it now. So this one's a really important one to me that I still strongly believe in, and I do try and give perspective to people who try and tell me the opposite, but they aren't. My ICP is cope, and what I mean by that is you can't just assume somebody's situation purely just by looking at their posts. Like, sure, you can get an understanding of what kind of music they are, but you can't make that assumption until you've messaged them. Messaging them could be the difference between getting a sale or not. I was listening to this podcast with Julia Shaw, and she raised an interesting point in the podcast where she says, you know, when you have that gut feeling about someone where you think something's off about them, and I'm thinking, yeah, I have that all the time. She's like, well, you're wrong. Most of the time when you have that off feeling about someone, your gut intuition is not actually correct. And the reason why I'm bringing this up in a video about producers messaging artists is that when you land on someone's page, I'll say your gut is lying to you and your emotions are preventing you from messaging someone that you could truly help. What do I mean by this? And I'll give you some further context. My friend Elwin, that we have been working with for quite some time now, I stumbled across her page, and like, you kind of land on it and you instantly think, she's a musician who produces herself, like she doesn't need our help. A lot of her videos of her playing instruments or making beats, so my first instinct when seeing something like that is like, she doesn't need our help. But I was extremely wrong, so I messaged her anyway, and like when we booked the first call in, I'm like kind of pretty skeptical that this is going to go anywhere, but you know, don't want to make assumptions. And talking to her, it ended up being a really great friendship, and also we were able to really help her make some of the best music that she's made and some stuff that she's really proud of, as well as developing a really solid relationship. Like, me and Owen, like, we just call now. But had I stuck to my gut intuition, I would have not messaged someone like this, and we would have never worked together. If I just simply listened to my gut, we would not be in this situation. Same goes for Demi. I've used Demi as an example in the past because she's also someone that when we land on her page, she doesn't instantly look like someone that we can really help. But since I didn't want to make an assumption, we messaged them anyway and see what they're about. And upon talking, it shows that she's actually looking to switch to more R&B style, which is what we did really well. And then we did an R&B song with her. But had we listened to our gut and followed our gut intuition, we would have never messaged her, and we would have never been able to work with her or establish that friendship, because we're pretty close with Demi now. And the same thing goes for Amina. Like, if you look at her page, it's like, bro, it doesn't look like instantly like someone we can really help with their creative process, but just having a conversation reveals so much about someone's situation that purely making an assumption based on how they post is just not serving you. We've ended up really helping her in her process, and she was really happy with the song that we made with her. My point stands. If you're skipping over accounts because of your gut intuition, I really think you're missing out on a lot of opportunities to work and help artists who truly need some help in their creative process. And you'd never know what someone's situation is until you message them and start that conversation. The second point that I've realized from messaging over almost 7,000 artists is that the initial compliment matters. However, really overthinking it and spending too long on each compliment is preventing you from getting growth. There was a time when I was experimenting with some DM softwares that you couldn't make a personalized message. You could only send like 4 variations of a impersonal, like general statement. And in that time, I was like, dude, our message response rate is going to tank. What I actually found is that it stayed the same, and we were not as personalized within our messaging. And I started taking notice of like, because I had a spreadsheet where we tracked all of our responses, how many messages we were sending, that kind of thing. I started paying attention every time someone responded, what kind of message we sent. And more likely than not, our message was general. It wasn't like specifically mentioning a song of any sort. It was rather just referring to their writing process or their vocal ability. And that was enough to get the conversation to start. And that's truly what the point of this first DM is. It's like, it's not something that you need to spend like an hour crafting to send the perfect message, because this is a volume game, and most people are just going to miss your message, or not even know, like it's just going to be stuck in your request, and you're not going to see it. So the game is to not overthink sending the message, and just send a message so that you can start the conversation and let people know that you exist, because that is the fundamental thing that you're trying to do with the DM. While I'm definitely not advocating to just make schlop compliments because Joe said to not overthink, I'm saying like it is great to have a personal compliment, but if you're spending too long on the compliment, then just move on, send it. Like just send it and move on. One final takeaway: more DMs, more sales. Like this is what it comes down to. Every month I reached out to more people, we would get more work because we had more conversations going. This point is something that I really learnt the hard way, because I was spending so long in the DM cycle just to try and get on a call with someone. It would take me like almost a month before I even got the confidence to pitch a call to someone, and that was just not productive at all. I felt stuck. I'm like, dude, I can't book a call to save my life. What is going on here? Because I was really trying to take the time and really build that DM rapport and relationship before I pitched a call. But I didn't actually realize how much it was hurting me from being able to get on calls, because I was just spending too long. It's like if you are on a dating app, for example, and you just stay on the dating app. It's not the point. You're supposed to move off of the dating app and go on a date. And I was just stuck in the DM stage, which was just not productive for anyone. And to bring this point home as well, I was talking to my guy Zuriel, who was just kind of like starting out with DMing artists, and he said he messaged like some 15 artists and he booked like 5 or 6 calls. And I was just like, what the actual F? How are you doing that? So he just showed me his DMs, and he was literally just doing the compliment, and then in the second message pitching to do a discovery or a triage call, which was blowing my mind. I was like, what? There's no way people would say yes to that. But people were saying yes. So what I started doing, I would spend a little bit more time, let's say like 4 to 5 DMs, where you get some basic understanding of what they're working on, potentially where they're based or how long they've been working on it, and if they're working with a producer, and if they are working with a producer, like if they're open to working with new producers. And once I get that information, I'll just ask to go on a call and make an introduction. It's very simple. Once I started doing this, I noticed that we were just getting so many more calls booked. Like it was kind of overwhelming. Like sometimes there would be like 3 or 4 triage calls in a day, and I'm like, dude, it's a good problem to have. With that problem, new problems arise, but we're fixing this problem first. And I would say if you're really struggling to book calls at the moment, it's because you're spending potentially too long in the DM stage and not trying to take it anywhere. If we're talking about like providing value to people, it's not really providing value, because you can't really help anyone in their creative process when you're stuck in the DMs. Well, obviously when you want to scale your DMs, it becomes an issue trying to find that many people to message in a day. And I was having that problem because I was trying to do 50 DMs from Monday to Friday. It was the most soul-draining thing I ever did in my life, and my constant thought was there has to be a better way than what we're doing right now, because this is horrible. So I actually made an automation that does it for me. It finds me the leads, it scrapes the internet from publicly available data, and provide them a personalized compliment based on the data that we can get from them. So here's one that I've set up for my boy Ruben literally this morning, and I've just been like kind of letting it run. And dude, it's been maybe like 3 hours since I set it up, and I haven't done any of this manually. It's just been running in the background. We've got 87 people that he can potentially message now, and he doesn't have to lift a finger except click the link, open Instagram, put the message in, change it if it needs to have a little bit of change, but there's essentially no friction to reaching out to people anymore. And if you're interested in like learning a little bit more about it, you can send me a message, DM me System on Instagram, or you can watch these videos. For example, with my boy Berto, he closed his first ever deal using the system, 2.5k sale. He's 17 years old. Like if a 17-year-old can use it, you can use it. And it's how we got scaled to past a 10.8k month using the same system. So if you've been struggling with trying to find leads and scale, essentially DM more people with less friction, then DM me the word on Instagram, System, so that I know that you came from this video.